Am I ready? Wow. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trending Thursday. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Glad to be here. Glad to have you here. And I'm hoping you're having a good day. I know the market is down. That doesn't mean you can't have a good day. And that doesn't mean that you're not making money in the market. If you can hear me, by all means, please respond in the affirmative, preferably with VV Nation, and let me know that I am coming across loud and clear. And let me know where you're tuning in from today. Today is going to be a hell of a day. It's going to be a great day because I've got something for everybody. Whether you're a longer term investor, whether you're a swing trader, whether you're more of a speculative investor, or today, even if you're an options player, I got something for everybody today. So you want to make sure that you stay to the end of today's presentation because I'm going to cover a lot of things today. I'm not going to have a lot of news to look at today. That's on purpose. And today is one of those days where you do want to share this link with people you know. Please do that. There's going to be a lot of great information. I'm going to give you guys a lot of insights on different types of stocks to look at. And we're going to even look at them, some of them from a day trade perspective. So that's the kind of day that we're going to have today. I did have some Cafe Bustelo today. Yesterday I didn't, but I did today. So I'm pumped. Joey is not even pumped. I was like, Joey, why are you not pumped? Joey's not pumped today, and I don't know why. I don't know why, but maybe because it was his birthday and he just doesn't feel like being pumped. I don't know. Joey, what's wrong with you today?
Nothing.
Okay, he just said nothing. All right, well, I'm pumped. Kobe is here from Israel. Thank you for being here. John says, VV Nation and Glenn rocks from hot Central Florida. It's not as hot today here, but it's hot enough. Mash says 201 likes and Glenn will buy me LASIK eye surgery. I didn't say that. Lord have mercy, I didn't say that. But you know me. If you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you'll get alerts when live streams and videos come out. I have the 6 p.m. video for tomorrow. I think it's going to be another banger as well. It's going to put a lot of things in perspective, especially when it comes down to if we are or not in a recession and how to make money. Today's topic as well is how to make money in a recession. So again, I've got a lot of different angles to look at for you guys in being able to do so. So again, today is a day that you definitely want to share this link with people you know. And if you don't, well, somebody could be missing out. So I just want you to do that. Maria is here from Maine. John is here from Boston. Hikem is here from Ottawa, Canada. Wilmington is in the house. Ron says Wilmington is in the house. Robert says, bonjour, Glenn, from Montreal, South Shore. Enjoy your meeting. Well, I'm glad you're here. What about my people on Facebook? Bo is here from New Brunswick. Is that Hawaii? Is that Hawaii, Bo? Alex says, laugh out loud, and Glenn will buy me 1,000 pair of Nike, 1,000 shares of Nike when it hits the 80s. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. That's a lot of shares. That's a lot of shares. All right. Chris is here from New Jersey. Hi, Chris. Wesley's here from Fort Lauderdale. And Son is here from California. Joey, did you go out a little more than you should have? I don't know. Joey,
No, I did not. I just went out and had dinner. That was it.
He just had dinner and that was it. He just doesn't sound happy. He might just be busy. Jamie Dimon seems concerned. He must know the primary wave is down. Well, hopefully Jamie Dimon takes a look at the VectorVest software to get him some information that's needed. Alex says he's messing. I know, Alex. I know. I got a whole lot of stuff going on Twitter with somebody about interest rates and stuff. I got somebody who's really big on interest rates, and he's been around a long time. He's really aggressive. If you want to follow me on Twitter, go to @GlennTompkinsJr. Go search for @GlennTompkinsJr. on Twitter. I put a lot of stuff up there on Twitter if you want to follow as well. You didn't, but Joey, you didn't buy Joey a beer or 7? Joey doesn't like me that much. Ron says, did you go long on GoAv? Yes, I did. I did after the Jockey Club this morning. I made 10% and got out. I did. I went long. By the time I got in and I made my 10%, it was up 31%. So I made 10% on that, and I jumped out of it because it was rocking and rolling from the Jockey Club this morning. So I made 10% and I got out of it. So I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. But again, we saw and talked about that in our live day trading room called the Jockey Club, which we do every Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10:30. It was a stock that was on the radar. I did take it, and I did get out of it. So Roger says it's 115 degrees in Arizona. Good gravy. Man, and a rain chance, well, 15% rain chance. We've gotten a lot of rain here. We've gotten a lot of rain here in North Carolina. Bo says, no, that's not Hawaii. He's in New Brunswick, Canada. Okay. All right. So today, 1, hit the like button. 2, share the link. Share the link. Share the link. Joey, tell them to share the link.
Share the link.
Share the link, folks. Today, we really do have a banger today. I want you guys to share the link because I got something for everybody. Let's start off by looking at the market. Everything is down today. Everything is down, and it is what it is. And you know something, just because the market is down does not mean that we can't make money in the market. We put into a short portfolio today in the Jockey Club as well. I haven't looked at it recently. I did close out of a position because the 3 went above the 8 on 5-minute bars. So I did close out of one position because I was able to look at it, but the rest of them have stops in place. So there you go. John says, did you say banger as in Bangor, Maine? Yes, because Maria is here from Maine. So yes, it's like Bangor, Maine. That's right. It's a banger today. Woo! I'm pumped. Joey is not pumped. I can't believe it, but I'm pumped. Man, you know something? You know, I'm so pumped. I want you to put ooh-wee in the room. Put a ooh-wee in the room. I'm that pumped today for what we've got. All right, let's go kick it off with what's going on in the market. All right, so we'll start off there. Wall Street skids on banks earnings. You know, the new earnings season just kicked off. Banks started off normally, and this is disappointing. Wall Street skids on bank earnings disappoint. So earnings are being missed, and this is the quarter. If you haven't been paying attention in regards to the raising of the interest rates, this and the next quarter are the 2 quarters that I told you guys to keep your eyes on. These 2 quarters are going to be a signal if the raising of the interest rates are starting to affect the earnings of the companies reporting. All right, because we still say that we're in a bull market. Why? And a lot of people are going, what? You guys are crazy. This is what you're saying. What? We're in a bull market. Yes. And the reason why we say we're in a bull market, because there's 3 things that move markets globally: earnings, interest, and inflation. All right. And we're experiencing a lot of different things in the cogs of what's going on in the market moving around. So earnings, companies are still hitting earnings or beating earnings. If you look at the last 2 quarters, companies overwhelmingly compared to missing earnings have beat earnings, looking at the FactSet data. All right. That still shows that the economy is still growing. If companies are still making money, they're able to hire more people, put more money into R&D and all of those different things. The economy is growing. All right. Now, with the raising of the interest rates, it's designed to help to shrink the economy because inflation, second thing, is running hot. All right. So earnings, inflation is hot. Came in at 9.1%. That's horrible. Raising higher, prices are going up. People are feeling it, whether they're buying food, fuel, clothes, everything, cars, homes, all of that stuff. So earnings are still going up, but if they start missing earnings, it's going to start to affect the economy in an adverse way, and then we'll officially be in a bear market. Now, we're in a bear run, even though we're still in a bull market. And the bull market is because more companies are meeting earnings than missing earnings. And then we have interest rates. Well, because inflation is so high, the Fed is going actively or hawkishly after raising the interest rates to start to slow the economy. Now, put in another thing, jobs. Jobs reports, there's a lot of jobs out there. A lot of people are getting jobs and jobs numbers went up. But wait a minute, we got to step back a little bit. How many people are not participating in the job market because they stopped looking? that's a problem as well. So yes, the jobs are out there, people are getting the jobs. But if less people are participating, even though the job pool is there, but there's less people in the job pool, that means that when people are hiring people, they can't find enough people to hire. That means when you go out to a restaurant, you got half a restaurant, but only 2 people serving, and you've got to wait a long time. So don't get, I'm not saying that it's deceitful. The numbers are the numbers, but looking behind the numbers is more important. Yes, a lot of people got jobs in the last jobs number, but how many people are pulling back and getting out of the job market? So there's so many different things moving around. You've got to be able to put this all into perspective to get a better understanding of what's going on. So earnings overall are still up. People are still meeting or exceeding their earnings expectations. But this quarter, third quarter and fourth quarter reporting is going to be very instrumental in determining whether or not we are really in a recession or not. All right, next one. Fed Waller backs a 75 basis point July rate hike may support a bigger move. I think what did your Uncle Glenn said? What did your Uncle Glenn said that had to happen at least once? Type it in the room. What did I say we needed to raise interest rates by at least once in this time? Anybody remember the number I gave? At least once there's going to be a raise of this magnitude. What's the number? What's the number I gave? Come on, Maria, you a Bronx girl? Oh, I like that. All right, 100 basis points. That's what I said at one point in time, that we were going to probably get a 100 basis point raise. We're getting closer to that. And I've got people that tell me, well, we're going to do that and we're going to wreck the economy. Well, I think that we've gone beyond just trying to placate the economy. All right, I think we've gotten to a point where, a recession is going to happen. The question is it going to be a deep one or is it going to be a mild one? And we'll see what happens from that point. But now there's another side of it. You raise them too high, the market's going to come crashing down a lot, and that's going to put us into a deeper recession. So the Fed is walking the tightrope. The Fed is walking the tightrope. As a matter of fact, I got to read the teleprompter again. The Fed is walking the tightrope of what to do. Are they going to be more hawkish? Are they going to have to be more dovish? Whatever happens, they've come to the point where they came to the party way too late. They called inflation transitory, all of those different things. So we'll see what happens. All right, the PPI, the wholesale prices shoot up to near records, 11.3% in June on the surge in energy costs. Excluding food and energy and trade, core PPI was up 6.4%. The monthly gain of 0.3% was below expectations. Jobless claims jumped up to 244,000, the highest level since November of 2021. And then the big story, inflation rose 9.1% in June, even more than expected as consumer pressures intensify. When will the dollar start to drop? Well, the dollar's not going to start to drop while we are tightening up the economy. As we do that, the dollar gets stronger. All right, John says, if Powell listened to Fed Governor Glenn last year that inflation was not transitory, we would not be in this mess. And you know something? It's kind of interesting that if the Fed would have paid attention to what was going on, knowing that with all of the money that was going into the economy, that inflation was going to be a product of all of this, how do you not know? And I asked that question earnestly. How do you not know that? And then to turn around and say, well, this is transitory. And I know why that was done. It was done to keep the economy bolstered and keep it running up. And everybody goes, yay, yay, yay. And then they look behind them and they say, holy crap, look at that inflation catching up. All right. So now we're paying the price of the Fed coming late to the game. Michael says CPG raised the dividend. That's an individual stock. We'll see what happens with that. So David, it won't fall. It won't be falling until we start backing off of raising interest rates. All right. Central bank, where was that? There, the central bank admit they lost control of inflation. There's no other. You got to own it. You got to own it. Alex says, Goldman Sachs says next GDP print will be positive, 1.5 or so. But we've already met the first criteria of being in a recession with GDP being down for 2 quarters in a row. So now another thing about raising interest rates, the raising of the interest rates takes time to have a full effect on the market. So I've got people saying that, maybe Fed should back off of raising interest rates, just leave them alone and let the policy that they already have in place of the rising interest rates to just let it take effect. You know something? That may not be a bad thing to do because we already know that every recession was led by the Fed due to monetary policy because they reacted so late, blah, 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 blah. They started too late. Now they're trying to play catch up. Not good. I agree with you, CB. I totally agree with you. All right. Halal is here on Facebook. Welcome. All right. So that's what's going on in the news behind what the major story is. And again, the major story is always going to be inflation the way we go right now. Let's go look at my two stocks for looking at the market, the VVC, the SPY. View the stock graph. Now, let's talk about the longer-term investor. Let me move this over for a second. Let me talk about the longer-term investor. The longer-term investor needs to pay attention to a couple of things. Go back to the home page. Our overall call in the market, the slowest, most conservative call we have in the market is a confirmed call. We're in a confirmed down call. Longer-term investors, if you're going to play the market at all right now, you need to play it to the downside. Whether you're shorting stocks or you're buying Contra Etfs or you're buying puts, whatever it takes, the overall trend of the market is down. So for those people who are in the market right now, or for the longer-term investors, that's the direction, that's the trend that you need to play along with. All right, now, Joey put me, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to, my list. All right, go back to my list. Here's the two stocks that I look at for tracking the market, whether you are a VectorVest subscriber or not. If you are a VectorVest subscriber, we look at the VVC. All right, intraday today, big drop down. All right, if I'm looking at it from an intraday perspective, Michael says, I'm not shut up to short stocks. Then I got something for you. You stick here. I got something for you, Michael. All right, intraday, the market dropped, but look at the rebound trying to happen, coming off of this low that happened about 10:10 this morning. We're trying to move higher. The 3 and the 8 have crossed, but I'm not thinking that this market has legs to the upside until we can fade the gap that happened this morning. Here's the gap down. All right, here's the gap down. Until we can break through that gap down, I'm not thinking the market's got legs to the upside, but we are starting to move higher as we talk right now. All right, let's go look at the VVC intraday. Same thing, but now the VVC did fade this gap. Look at that. The VectorVest composite did fade its gap. I got a level of 373. That's the spiders. 373 came down as a level of support bounce. Look at the move up. So it did fade the gap. I do have a trend line higher. So I'm thinking that the spiders might actually have some legs to the upside right now. Let's right click. Let's make that a little darker for you. That as we look at this intraday, looks like the S&P 500 has a run up as we are talking right now. All right, now let's go look at both of these on a 3-month graph. And there's the overall for the longer term investor. Even if we have an up day today, look at the overall trend of the market is down. Long-term investors, we have short-term runs to the upside in this overall downside. So those longer-term investors, you should play the market to the downside. As John says, it wasn't John, it was Michael that said that he's not set up to sell short. I got something for you. All right, so that's on the S&P 500, and then there's on the VectorVest composite. There's no getting around it, folks. No matter what you think, no matter what, this is a bear run in the market, and we won't think that either one of these indicators will show us any upside potential until we can break through this major downturn in the market. This is a bear run, even though I still say we're in a bull market based on earnings and company meeting or exceeding their earnings. We are overall in a downtrending market. So for the longer term investor, this is still the time to play the market to the downside. John says, I know the trend is down, but the buy sell hold at 10, and I am worried about a rip your face off bear market rally. So, from that perspective, John, we've had those moves. Look at that here. We've had those moves. Look at that here. But even with those moves, a real bear run or bear rally doesn't happen until we break out of this downtrend. Does that make sense to everybody in the room? Type of 1 if that makes sense. Type of 2 if you don't believe that. All right? So I hear you. The runs are there. The runs are always going to be there. But until we can break this overall, and this is a 3-month graph, folks. Let's go put this on a 6-month graph. That's 6 months. We're down. Until we can break through this major downtrend in the market, we're not going to have a bottoming or real bear run, folks. That's for real, for real. All right, that's for real, for real. So that's on the VVC, 6 months. On the S&P, same scenario. All right, so I've addressed the longer-term investors in regards to what's going on in this recessionary type of scenario right now. All right, let's go back to the news. Now, things that I'm looking at, Warren Buffett stocks. All right, Warren Buffett stocks. Now, Warren Buffett, everybody knows Warren Buffett, but how about this? Warren Buffett says these are the best stocks to own when inflation spikes. With consumer prices now at a white-hot 9.1%, it's time to follow his lead. This is another segment for the longer-term investors because these are stocks that have the propensity to outlast a recession. So here's the stocks. Very interesting. American Express. Why? The company stands to directly benefit from an inflationary environment. Look at that. That's it right there. American Express makes most of its money through discount fees. Merchants are charged a percentage of every Amex card transaction. As the price of goods and services go up, the company gets to take a cut of larger bills. Every time you go to a machine and buy stuff and it takes American Express, they're making money. So even if prices go up, they make more money. That's a good reason long-term why American Express is a Buffett stock. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a classic example of a recession-resistant business. Whether the economy is booming or struggling, a can of Coke is affordable to most people. The company's entrenched market position, massive scale and portfolio iconic brands including Sprite, Fresca, Dasani, and Smartwater give it plenty of pricing power. All right, so Buffett likes insurance companies too. I got no insurance companies on this. Now, Dan says American Express down 20%. We're going to take a look at American Express, Dan, in a moment. But I'm giving you reasons why in this kind of state that we're in from a recessionary standpoint, why American Express has the ability to go up. Now, that doesn't mean that every stock that I'm going to talk about that are Buffett stocks are going to make money every single day. I don't think I'm going to be able to bring anything to the table that shows you that it makes money every single day. But long term, based upon what we just read, American Express has a good opportunity to go up. My favorite stock, Apple. Now, this is very interesting why. He thinks that Apple's going up. No one who spends $1,600, I'm one of them, for a fully decked out iPhone 13 Pro Max would call it a steal. But consumers love splurging on Apple products anyway. And the reason why, the big reason why, I'll come down to that in a second. Hold on. It's in the article. I just read it. 40%. I'll keep reading. Earlier last year, the management revealed the company's active installed base of hardware has surpassed 1.65 billion devices, including over 1 billion phones. While competitors offer cheaper devices, there it is, many customers don't want to live outside the Apple ecosystem. True story. My wife and I, a few years ago, about 5-6 years ago, my wife broke her phone, and I said, you know something, if I didn't have Apple, I would go for one of these. I think it was a Samsung something or other. All right. And I said, we should try that. And she said, okay. She went and got it, and it took just a matter of a couple of weeks to realize how lost she was in the Apple ecosystem with a Droid phone. It's big. And I think now there's people who don't like Apple at all and will not deal with any Apple products and are fine in the Droid ecosystem. But once you've gotten used to the Apple ecosystem, it's hard to put something else in that ecosystem that doesn't match up very well to it. That means inflation spikes. Apple can pass higher costs to its global consumer base without worrying much about a drop in sales volume. It is a cult sort of kind of, and I'm part of it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't want to put that negative connotation on it, but I've become an Apple geek. I become an Apple geek, and that is big. Dan says Apple M series is starting to build semiconductors. Have you heard about the M1 chip, how fast it is? Have you guys heard, type of one, if you've heard all of the great things about the new M1 chip? And you're right, from a semiconductor perspective, they were using Intel for their chips, but putting their own chips. From what I hear, that I don't think there's anything bad I've heard about the M1 chip from Apple at all. All right, so Apple got purple, hook, line, and sinker. I know. Listen, I'm one of them. I'm hook, line, and sinker on Apple. Today, and this is another big thing about Apple. Today, Apple is Buffett's largest publicly trading holding, representing nearly 40% of Berkshire's portfolio. Now, if people have trusted Berkshire or Buffett all these years, that tells you something about Apple. Somebody like that who's very frugal about what types of stocks he gets into, Apple represents almost half of his portfolio. That's huge. How does anyone buy anything long in this type of market? Kenneth, all right, there's a couple of different ways of looking at that. One, when I'm looking at these stocks, Apple won't work on Microsoft products. I'm going to answer that question in a couple of different ways. One, by looking at the stocks, looking at the stock's ability to meet or exceed earnings, because earnings is the engine that drives the stock's price higher. And then the fuel for that engine is sales growth. Do these companies exhibit both a growing earnings per share and growing sales growth? There is an opportunity for you to hold some of these stocks long. Now, the other side of that, Kenneth, because you're in a bear market, in a bear run in a bull market, that 80% of the stocks move with the direction of the market. So if that's the case, even some of the best stocks in the world that you would try to hold long will still succumb to a market's move to the downside. So how can you hold stocks long term in a atmosphere like this? Hedge. All right. So now, from an options perspective, you put a collar on your portfolio of long stocks that like these Buffett stocks. You put a collar on that portfolio to help to absorb some of the price decline. All right. If you don't want to play options, maybe you look at a Contra ETF to hedge that portfolio as well. You buy enough of that Contra to offset the downward move of those long-term positions. So, Kenneth, there's a couple of different ways of looking at still holding anything long in this type of market. Does that make sense, Kenneth? Two different ways. From an options perspective, put a collar on that portfolio to help absorb some of the downside. Or number two, buy a Contra, and it doesn't have to be a leverage Contra. You can buy a Contra as a hedge on those long positions as well. Warren Buffett isn't a technology investor either. And that's huge when you say he's got 40% of Apple in his portfolio. I'm looking to the Paycheck Options course. That's a great way to make money and generate income. Apple investors are willing to pay for premium for a powerful brand. And again, I called it a cult. I think it really is a sense of just being nerds. We're all nerds. We are. I am big time. Here's my iPro, the 13 iPhone Pro Max. I got that. And then on the floor, I got my 12.9. I got my 12.9 inch Apple iPad Pro. Listen, and I got another one in my bag. I got another iPad Pro, and then I got my Apple. I'm in it. There's no ifs, ands, ands, or buts about it. And 427 Trading says, I'm surprised at the 40% holding. Most people didn't know that. I was talking to my good friend Todd Schaefer. He said the same thing. Wow. He couldn't believe that Warren Buffett had 40% holding in one stock in his portfolio. Paid $3,800 for an Apple IIc years ago. Couldn't wait to get rid of it. I'm on the opposite side. I'm getting ready to buy an iMac Mini. I'm going to buy a Mac Mini since my wife took over my desk. So she went and got her own desk. So now I'm going to get a Mac Mini. I've got two monitors, Apple monitors, big old Apple monitors, and a keyboard. I got one of these keyboards, So I'm going to just take that home, put that with my monitor and an iMac Mini. I think I'm going to be good. All right. So What else is in here? Chevron. Only one of Buffett's big moves in 2022 is loading up on Chevron, according to SEC filing. He owned 25.9 billion of the energy giant as of March 31st, a significant jump for him in stake. Wow, he went from 4.5 billion to 25.9 billion in an energy stock. All right, in an energy stock. All right, I still think that oil still has some more upside, even though short term right now it's getting whacked. All right, so those are some of Buffett's stocks, and I think that he makes a good case of why he wants these stocks. Another one, I'm going to look at semiconductor chip stocks. World's largest chip maker, TSMC, posts record profit, allaying fears over semiconductor headwinds. We all know that there's a shortage of semiconductor chips, that China's got the run on it right now. I just did a video, Joey, if you want to put that video up. I just did a video on semiconductor stocks. TSMC is one of the best ones out there. And from those stocks, I think that there's still a bill. Evidently, there still is a bill, the CHIPS bill, to help bring manufacturing of semiconductors back to the U.S. so we don't have to rely on China so much. And it's not a law yet. I thought it was law, but it's not. It's still in Congress. They need to get moving on it. They so need to get moving on it so that we can bring some of that manufacturing back to the U.S. and then we can help to overcome some of the shortcomings as far as chips. And last but not least, another one, Taiwan Semi, same thing, tops earnings, demand for cars help. Cars, phones, devices. You know, it was amazing in that video that I did on the semiconductor chip stocks. It's amazing where and how many devices utilize semiconductor chips, which is why we have to lessen our dependence on China for these things. All right, so those are my stories. That's all the stories that I have today. All of those make up the stocks that I have in my list, with the exception of some. Let's go to my semiconductors. Let's start with the Buffett stocks. We have Coca-Cola, American Express, and what was the other one? Coca-Cola, American Express, MCHP. All right. Nope. That's not that one. Coca-Cola, American Express, Apple, and CVX. Apple and CVX. Those are the four stocks that were the Buffett stocks. Someone says that American Express was down 20%. Let's go take a look at these. View the stock graph, and I'm going to put these on a longer time period. Look at Coca-Cola today. Intraday today. Look at Coca-Cola today. Nicely moving up. Whew. After it gapped down, nice move on Coca-Cola from a day trade perspective. I'd look at 12 cents higher than the high. I'd put it on about 62.24. From a day trade perspective today, I like the move. What else? Day trade today, American Express, I like the move. Both of these right now have faded their gaps and are moving higher. Looking at the 3 and 8 coming off of levels of support. Apple, good, googly, muggly, looking like an airplane. Look at that. I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be. That's a nice move. From a day trade perspective, though, folks, what's the high? 148.55. I'd look at 148.65, 148.67. 148.67 from a day trade. I like that. Look at the move. You can't deny that. And the stock did gap down this morning and faded the gap pretty quickly and is just ripping and running. All right, 148.67 is what I said. All right, from a day trade. CVX never really faded the gap from an intraday perspective, though. Look at that. All right, right there at the level of the gap of 134.91 day trade. I do like the 3.8. The volume is pretty good as well. I'd like to see it break above that. So now we looked at them all from a day trade perspective. Let's go put these on the 6-month graph. And now, so what does Buffett like? Buffett likes value stocks, stocks that have upside potential. Let's look at relative value on CVX, 1.68. This stock should outperform a AAA corporate bond by 68%. What am I looking for? I need to time these moves. Just because Buffett likes them, he likes to buy low and sell high. Well, are we at low? The stock is moving down low. RT's below 1, but great upside potential. Safety, relative safety is above 1. Fundamentally, the stock is good. Earnings per share. Look at that. Earnings per share. And there's the engine, folks. There's the engine that drives the stock's price higher is look at the earnings per share. You can't beat that. You can't. A company that consistently makes money is a company that normally tends to move up. Oil has gotten hit, so petroleum has gotten hit, but he's looking at a stock that's got good upside potential that makes money, and he's now, for us, we need to time this. He says he's in them, so let's go. He's going to go rock and roll. Let's go look at Apple. I love that Apple was in a downtrend, but now Apple came off a level of support. Look at that move. Look at that move. Broke out. Now, this is what I'm looking for the market overall. I like that. It makes money. It makes money, but broke out of the downtrend. I like Apple. I like Apple big time because it broke through the downtrend that the stock was in. Nice update today. Love the earnings per share. RT is now below 1. Is above 1. I'm liking that. Look at the run. The stocks move. RT move. Earnings move. I like Apple. I think that from the perspective of a Buffett stock, I like this now. Whereas I'm looking at American Express. I'm looking at, what was the other one? I'm looking at CVX. I'd wait on this. So he's already in it. I'd wait on it. I think long-term it's got upside, but I would wait on it. Apple, I like now. Now, American Express. Someone said that American Express is down 20%. I'm looking at a 6-month graph. But even with that, the earnings is there. The company makes money. The company makes money. Let me read the teleprompter again. Read the last line again. The company makes money. What am I waiting for? If nothing else, I'm waiting for the 3 to cross above the 8. I'm not telling you to get into it. It is a Warren Buffett stock. It is a good long-term play, but I'm not ready to take it right now until at least the 3 goes above the 8. And then if I need more confirmation, let's wait to see if the stock can break above this level of resistance of 149.70. So the person that put in that American Express is down 20%, I'm with you. Let's go look long-term, though. Relative value tells me that the stock's got the ability to outperform the market at a rate of 35% over the next 1 to 3 years. The earnings is a steady rise, a steady rise. Now, from a technical standpoint, 3 is below the 8, RT is below 1. Maybe you don't take it yet, but long-term, if nothing else, you keep this on your radar because of the ways that he said it's gonna continue to make money. It is gonna, even in a recessionary state. And then the next one, Coca-Cola, big drop right now, a lot more volatile in Coca-Cola, where you would think that a company's been around as long as it has, it shouldn't have this much volatility, but it does. Overall, the trend of the stock is down, coming off of the high. Yikes, that's not what I wanted. Coming off of the high, let's go draw a freehand line. So even though Buffett likes it, this is another one that I would wait on. It looks like the only stock that I like from the Buffett list that I would buy now would be Apple. The others, none of them are ready yet. I at least would wait for the 3 to cross above the 8. All right. Where do you see the volume on CVX where he bought a gazillion shares? Let's go. Did I get to... I don't know what made him buy it. And the volume, I don't know. Was it back here? I don't know. It doesn't say. It doesn't say where he bought. But you know, if I'm looking at a 6-month graph, it's got to be somewhere here, Mark. You agree with that? It's got to be somewhere here because I don't see it here. It's got to be somewhere back here on this date here. Let's go see how many shares were traded on that day. On that day, it was, that's a big number, 57 billion. Is that the right number? That's hundreds, that's thousands, million, 57 million, maybe right there. Or on several days he could have gotten in, but there was like 57 million shares traded on that day. But notice that right about here, we had above average volume. We had a lot of above average volume right here. Sandy, I'm with you. I'm a Pepsi person. I'm a Pepsi person. It takes a long time for a whale to enter a position of that size. That's why I'm saying it could have been anywhere up in here. But that makes sense. That makes sense that these way above the, much higher above average volumes could have been the times that he got in. All right. But again, the only one that I like from the Buffett stocks long-term to buy now is Apple, but he made the case for the other three as well to look at long-term. All right, so those are the Buffett stocks. Let's look at the semiconductor stocks, looking at SEMO, looking at TSM, looking at MCHP, and looking at CRUS. Here's my chip stocks, and the reason why I picked them, all of them have relative values above 1. So we all know that TSM is one of the biggest chip people out there, undervalued. Silicon Motion, undervalued. Cirrus, all of these are undervalued. Every single one of them, step one, that's good. Relative values on all of them are above the value of 1. So they all have good upside potential. Dan, I will try to look at stocks today, but I got so much stuff for you guys to look at today that I may or may not be able to look at your individual stocks today. All right, so those are my chip stocks. I like these more so for the swing trader. All right, I like these more so for the swing trader. So we looked at stocks from the upside for the longer term investor, and that you can still hold some stocks longer term, again, as long as you hedge or something along those lines. But my swing traders in a space that's in the news, that is making news, I like these more for the swing trade. Let's right click, view the stock graph on those chip stocks. Wow, SEMO looks great today. What does the chips, let's go look at the sector. You want to know what the chip sector looks like? Let's right click. Let's view a sector graph. We'll do that first. Let's go view a sector graph. That is the, I don't want the sector. Let me tell you why. Let's go hone in more so to the industry, which is the semiconductor industry. Does that make sense, 427 trade? I'd rather look at the semiconductor industry. The electronic sector takes a lot of things into consideration, but let's look at the semiconductor industry. Day trade looks good. I just put this on a 3-month graph. Look at where it's going on. Now it's starting to move outside of the downtrend. Look at that. Boom. Nice update. What else is happening there, 427? The 3 and the 8 are about to cross. I like that. Look at the relative timing moving up with the stock as well. Now, I don't like the drop in earnings, but it is higher than it was still 3 months ago. I'm looking at 3 months ago, but I'm liking the early move now prior to the 3.8. Will China invade Taiwan? What will happen with the I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I know. The news is out there. I'm letting the news people and the governments, them governments work this stuff out. I haven't the slightest idea. I really, really don't. I got my own opinions. This ain't the place for my own opinions. But I don't know what's going to go on. And if China does invade Taiwan, that's going to affect the chip business. There's going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, so we'll see what happens. I like the industry about to move, 427. I like that a lot. I like that it's coming out of the downtrend, the most recent downtrend. Both of those have me bullish on that stock, all right, on these stocks. Now let's right click and view the individual stocks. All right, so again, for the more of the swing trader, I like these stocks for you. Let's go put this on a 3-month graph. Look at that. Found a nice base. There's SEMO. Look at the rising earnings per share. RT now just jumped above 1. Look at that base. Look at that base. How low can you go? Death row. What a brother knows. All right, so how many of you understood that reference? Joey doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that. But look at that. Boom. Off of a level of support, look at the 3.8. Look at the 3.8. Could this be early move? Especially so, I love the 3.8 move anyway. Could that be a good early move? Again, for the swing trader, I'm liking these stocks. I'm liking the semiconductor space. What else? Look at that. TSM, 3.8 move as well on good volume. Look at the earnings per share. Bingo. Man, oh man. This is what I'm talking about, and why, from a Trending Thursday perspective, why, from a swing trade perspective, I like this space. Why I like this space. M-Chip, look at that. Coming off a level of support. Now, this has got a headway of 2 different levels of resistance, but look at the rising earnings per share. I'm loving all of these. Ron, there you go. That's what I'm talking about, Ron. That's what I'm talking about. So all of these stocks in this space, I like the most recent 3.8 crossovers. If you're not in them yet, let's see if they come up to those levels of resistance. Look at the earnings per share. If they come up to those levels of resistance, Let's see, put an order in above that. But all of these stocks in this space I like. And again, from a swing trade perspective, these are good plays for you to keep on your list. All right, so now that is looking at the longer term investor. I've now talked about the swing trade investor. How many of you are option players? Type of 1 in the room. How many of you play options? Type of 1 in the room. I got some stuff for you today. I'm telling you, from a recessionary standpoint, I've got ideas for everybody, every type of investor today. For every type of investor. How many of you play options? Come on, get up there. How many of you? Chuck D, Flavor Flav. Alex, that was the wrong, no, wrong one. It wasn't, it was Public Enemy. Chuck D and Flavor Flav. Never mind. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're right. All right. So I see a lot of people in the room that like to play options. How about, did you know this? In our viewers tab, if you are a VectorVest subscriber, in our viewers tabs, we've got a special watch list of stocks with weekly options. Ooh. So now that goes a little bit more for the swing trader / more aggressive trader. These are 1 week, they pay weekly options, not monthly, not quarterly, but weekly weekly options. You can play weekly options on them. Again, Dan, I'm not looking at individual stocks yet. All right, I'm not looking. And TSM paying 13.16 dividend yield. If I would have bought INTC at the low, but as the market has me scared. I like INTC in that space as well, but I specifically picked stocks that had relative values above 1. INTC was not one of them. Thus the reason why I did not pick INTC for this presentation. But I still like Intel. Don't get me wrong, I still do like Intel. But I went to fine-tune this for you for the purposes of getting you some really good stocks to look at. All right, so now I'm looking at these weekly options. A lot of them are Contra ETFs. Ta-da, that may not be a bad way to go, especially if the market is going down and they pay weekly options. So we do have a watch list. And you know how many stocks we have in this list? 609 stocks that pay weekly options. 609. As a VectorVest subscriber, you want access to this? Guess what? 99 cents gets you access to this. Go to www.vectorvest.com/YT for YouTube. 99 cents. You want these weekly options? If you're not a subscriber, 99 cents gets you access to this watch list. All right, so I wanted to show you that watch list, and in my list, I picked some of them out for you. All right. And the ones that I picked out for you, especially because I'm not a big fan of gold right now. I think playing the bearish side of gold that pays the weekly options, you can buy these puts and do them weekly So I like Dust, I like UVXY, and I like LABD. All right. Biotechs were rocking and rolling. Now they're not anymore. From a weekly option perspective, I like these 3 plays. Let's right-click, view the stock graph. It only took one. That stinks. UVXY, LABD, and Dust. Right-click now. Let's view the stock graph. There we go. Put this on a 3-month graph. Remember, these are you buy these long. Right now, even though I know that they pay the weekly options, I'd wait for the 3 to go above the 8. Ron says, I have trade calls, MIT, buy dividend stocks with weekly options, buy a 90 to 120 date puts, and sell weekly. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's another whole thing. Now, remember, you can trade. They expire on a weekly basis, Mark. They expire on a weekly basis. So instead of saying that I want to just go for 4, I can get in and out. They trade weekly options, so I can buy on weekly basis instead of buying out further. They when I say pay weekly options, they trade weekly options. That's probably trade, play. They sound the same. You can trade these on a weekly basis. All right, so that's what I meant, Mark. Does that make sense? Did I clear that up? If in case I confuse you, I'm sorry. All right, let's go to the next one. LABD, again, from a short perspective, I need these to move up. I'm telling you, from a buying, I wouldn't, so I really wouldn't want to buy the puts on them. I actually should go the other direction because they're all going, wow, except for dust. Ooh, look at the ETF on dust. Duh. Whoo. All right. What do you mean about the one on companies like SEMO? What do you mean? What do you mean about the one on Michael? You got to say that question a little differently. All right, you got to say that question a little different because I'm not understanding what you're saying. But look at that, buying the call on this, even though it's a short, buying the call on this. Holy smokes. Watch it now. Wouldn't take it today. Big sell off, big wick at the top. I'd be careful, but I like them nonetheless. All right. So that is on the weekly options. And then the last thing, for those people who want to know what's moving now, what do you think is moving the best right now? All right. Put it in the room. If you were trading and bringing on new stocks, what kind of stocks would you be buying right now? And there's only two things that I'm looking for. Which two instruments would you be trading right now? Type it in the room. All right, I want to see where your heads are at. Now, I did talk about long-term, some stocks that you wanted to look at. I did want to talk about swing trading stocks to look at. I did talk about options. There you go, Michael. That's what I'm talking about. What else besides Contras? What else besides Contras would you be taking advantage of right now? And I'm going to show you real easy ways for those people who are short-term investors. So we talked about long-term. We talked about swing trading. We talked about options. Now I'm talking a little bit more about short-term. Puts and Contras. Puts is another way. So that makes the third. What's the other one that I'm looking for? What else would you be looking for? And it's something that most everybody does. Well, not most everybody, but what's the other thing you can play to the downside? Anybody? Puts? Short. There you go. So there's actually three. The two that I was looking for were Contras and shorting stocks, but buying puts, it will work out as well. So let's help you out and let's go look at my watch lists again. I'm going to look at the power of the watch list today. How about finding stocks to sell short? We've got a watch list. Worst new lows. All right, let's go start looking for stocks to sell short. Now, again, short term though, especially with the volatility in the market, because we're up for a couple of days, then we're down for a couple of days, back and forth. I'm going to sort this by percent price change. These are stocks that are hitting their worst new lows. So I want to find the percentages going down because a watch list only reflects prices going up or prices going down. Which ones are going down the most? And I would stay away from the Contras and I would actually just look at the stocks. Look at the stocks in here that are going down, not the Contras. Let's go down the list some more. Groupon, Allianz. Look at these. All down today. Not Gush, Newmont, Silica, blah, 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 blah. Let's go take a look at some of these stocks. These are stocks candidates for shorting. For those of you short term who want to look for stocks to sell short, put these on a 3-month graph. These are stocks that are hitting. Look at that. If you're shorting, that's what you're looking for. Good, googly muggly. Where I put these orders in, 12 cents lower than the low. Either 5 cents, if they're less than $20, 5 cents lower than the low. If they're over $20, that's what I meant to say. If they're less than $20, 5 cents lower than the low. If they're more than $20, 12 cents lower than the low. But these are stocks that are hitting new lows. And if the market continues the way that it is, this could be great for shorting atmosphere. This is decent stocks to take a look at from a short perspective. Look at that. This is a drilling company. Look at it. All of these are hitting a new low. How about we find the stocks for you? How about we look at this? Look at this. We find the stocks for you. This has got a lot of choppyosity going on. Man, this is really volatile. But is it hitting new low? Not that one. Not that one. But the ones that we did see that were all hitting new lows, these are great stocks to sell short. All right. Now, the last thing I'm going to cover from a short-term perspective are those people who are looking for Contra ETFs. Guess what? We got a watch list for it. let's go over and find our ETFs. All right, if you want to be super aggressive, we've got 3-time leverage contras. All right, let's run those real quick. Again, for the short-term investor or the short-term trader playing the market's conditions the way that they are right now, let's sort this by percentage price change. Actually, let's sort this by RT, the ones that are moving up the fastest. Again, using the power of the VectorVest system, the ones are moving up the fastest. Let's look at the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right click, view the stock graphs. These, by way of our indicators, are moving up the fastest. Look at that. Now, FAZ, I don't like the gapiosity going on. What I'd really like to see is it take out that 3-month high before I pull the trigger. All right, look at that. NRGD, look at that rise. How about finding it early when the 3 went above the 8? But right now, sitting at a level of resistance. Let's see if it can get above that before I take it. Wow, EDZ hitting a level of resistance. But look at the moves on these on above average volume. Got to love that. BNKD, big give back today after it gapped up. It gapped up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Nicely moving higher, but be careful with it right now. And last but not least, I'm not feeling that at all. That's got no volume. I would stay away from that. So now, that's one side of the contra side. For those of you who may not be as aggressive, in the list as well, we have non-leveraged contra ETFs to take a look at. Let's do this. I thought I don't do puts or calls, but I just buy the common shares only is the way I trade or invest into companies, which isn't working when I go to book value and earnings. So, Michael, what I'm saying, if you don't want to, you said, I thought I don't do puts. I don't. You don't do puts or calls. So if you don't do puts or calls, I'm thinking that contras might be a good way for you. And here's the non-leverage side. Let's sort this by RT. These are the ones that are a little bit more conservative to play into. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go take a look. View the stock graph over the last 3 months. All right, I like the 3-8 cross. Again, these are non-leverage, but I do know that right now on HDGE, it's got a level of resistance sitting at 33.32. I would like to see more volume in that one. Oh, DGZ. Now, I really don't like the lack of volume, but I do like the price action. One side of me says stay away. The other side, the bigger side of me says stay away. Even though I like the price action, I'd like to be able to be in options. SEF, I like the 3-8 cross, RT, big volume or above average volume. Remember, these are non-leverage contras. EFZ, same kind of scenario. 3-8 is cross coming off a level of support, now moving up. Next one, REK. I like the 3-8. From the standpoint of looking at stocks to get into, that's from a short-term perspective. Whether you're looking at leverage contra ETFs or non-leverage contra ETFs, and I should have. You're right, David. Hold on. I didn't think about that. Let's sort it by average volume, actually. Let's sort it by average. Thank you, David. Come on. We want to make sure that we're in stocks that trade, that have liquidity. Now let's do the same thing. Let's look at the top 5. Let's go look at the top 5. Thank you, David. Let's go look at the top 5, view the stock graphs. That makes a big difference. But I'm still going to probably get the same scenarios. The 3-8s are crossing right now. I like these short term. Even if they're non-leveraged, I still do like them short term. Look at the 3-8s. The market's moving down. These are moving up. TBF, though, I would not take. That's not moving like the rest of them, so I wouldn't take that. But dog, I like as well. So, David, thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right. Why are they going lower? Aren't they? They are moving lower. All right. Did you not see them on all the ones that I just showed? Did you not see them? They are moving higher. All right. Remember, what did I say that these were? Short-term trades. Short-term, they're moving. All right, Doug, short term, they're moving. As I continue to go through them, they are moving up. But these are short term. Remember, I told you I had something for everybody, whether you're a longer term investor. We looked at some Buffett stocks. Whether you're a swing trader, we looked at the semiconductor stocks. We also looked at a swing trading to shorter term trading, looking at option stocks. And then we looked at, from a short term perspective, shorting stocks and looking at Contra Etfs. How long has Buffett been a subscriber to VectorVest? Just wondering. Probably more years than I know. Pretty much. All right. Probably more years than I know. All right. That's all I got for you today. All right. But I didn't have much in the way of news. I just used the news for the purposes of seeing what's going on in the market. But we looked at stocks from an intraday perspective, from day trades. We looked at them on a 3-month perspective to look at them longer term. And I accommodated some of every type of trader today: a longer term investor, the swing trader, the options trader, and the short term trader. That's what it was all about today. All right. Joey, put me on my last screen. That's what it was all about today. And I wanted you to go. And now, if you liked what you saw today, hit the like button. If you liked what you saw and it was worth it, hit the like button, folks. And I hope that some of you did share it. I told you needed to share it. Because in the kind of recessionary atmosphere that we in, people want to know, how do I make money? And I think I laid out a course for you guys to be able to help all different types of investors. A course of action. That's probably I think I laid out a course of action for every type of investor. So if you enjoyed today's session, type a 1. All right. If you felt it was worth it, if I didn't waste your time today, type a 1. If I wasted your time today just yip yapping, type a 2. I want to know. And I'll take that as well. You know, I'm trying to make whatever I can do better. All right. And my job is to make you guys happy, but I need you guys to be satisfied with being here. All right. I need you guys to be satisfied with being here, making it worth your time. So I see the ones coming across and I appreciate it. And I think I'm going to try to, I'm trying to fine tune the format to keep you guys here. I want to keep you guys here, not just to hear me talk, but to be edified and uplifted in the market and have a better understanding on what you can do as an investor in the market to make money. All right. So Eton says, I love your Trending Thursday. Thank you for that. John says, Glenn, thanks. Great job. Pound of bacon for you. Yes. You know something? I don't want a GoFundMe account. If you want to pay me in any way, shape, form, or fashion for what I do here, send me pounds of bacon. Okay. That's all I got to say about that. Send me some bacon, baby. How many likes did we get today, Joey? How many likes did we get today? We got 89. Yeah, you know me. I'd like to see if we get to 100. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. I like to try to get you guys educated and keep you focused. Keep you focused on what you guys can do in the market to make money. All right. So with that, how many people shared on Facebook? I mean, does it show? How many people shared on Facebook? I got no shares on Facebook. That's all right. That's all right. It is what it is. All of us care about what you say and your information. Not everybody feels that way, Alex. Believe you me. Not everybody feels that way, and I'm okay with that. It's summer vacation, but you do a great job. Nothing else like it. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate it. Bacon Nation, baby. Woo! Sandy said shared by email. I'll take it. All right, folks. So I'm getting ready to rock and roll. I'll see many of you on the Jockey Club tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. See if we can keep making us some money. So until then, folks, adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Bom dia. Salam, shalom, namaste, ya. Until the next time, folks, see ya.